Hey guys, Marsting here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so with the new stages of Super Battle Road coming to global, finally, I am doing a series of team building guides for them all. I'm going to put them all into a playlist. They should be in order. We're literally going to go down the list here and go through all of the various different teams. Like I say, they're all going to be in a playlist, so if there's a specific one that you want to look at, they're going to be easy enough to find. And these will be going up over the next couple of days. So, we are going to start off with the first one, stage 41, which is Exploding Rage. So, this is an interesting one for global. Obviously, we don't have the LR Kid Gohan, like the new Prime Battle LR. So, Beerus is the only leader specifically for Exploding Rage. But there are a couple of ways to get around this. And honestly, for global, with these stages being delayed, we actually did get a huge advantage coming from the download celebration, because a lot of the new stuff is going to be very good for taking on this stage. So, as always with my team building guides, I go through my top picks and honourable mentions. If there's a unit that you think I should have talked about that I didn't, let me know. Or if there's a unit that you think I missed out on some detail that makes them super good for Super Battle Road, again, let me know down below and we can continue the discussion in the comments. So if you find the guide helpful at all, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and jump straight in. So obviously the first unit to talk about is the physical Beerus, because he is the Exploding Rage category leader. 3 key, HP 130, attack and defense 170. The biggest problem with using Beerus on this team, and it's very similar to the issue that he has on Realm of Gods, is that when we go through all these other units, I mean, you're going to see, like, he doesn't really have a lot of units on this category that he links very well with. At least on Realm of Gods, you've got all the different Whis cards, Vados, the LR Beerus and Whis. Like, there's a few units you can link him up with. But obviously on Realm of Gods, everybody loves to run the various different god form Saiyans and fusions. So he does suffer that same kind of problem there, where he doesn't really fit in the team, even though he is the leader. But obviously, if you don't have some of the other combinations that we're going to talk about throughout the video, he is the best leader for you to use. So you can use any units from the category. So he's probably, like, I would say maybe like a last resort for the leader, because he's straight up the category leader, but he's not the best option for the team. He's alright for Super Battle Road. Obviously, he gets more attack and defense after getting hit, but he's probably not a unit that you really want to put in slot 1 in this mode. But obviously, if you have to use him as the leader, he can still be fairly decent. But for me personally, like for a no items run, I probably wouldn't want to bring him on the team. But he is the catch-all leader for Exploding Rage. So next up, we have the biggest change to this stage, and what is going to make this a lot easier for global players. If you pulled this in LR Super Saiyan Goku from the download celebration, then you are going to be pretty set here, because you could actually use his leader skill to make a full legendary existence and Super Saiyan team that is all Exploding Rage characters. And then that's probably going to be your best way to go through this event, because obviously the in LR Super Saiyan Goku is one of the best units in the game. He is incredibly powerful. If he's in slot 1 and takes a hit, he gets a guaranteed additional super. He raises defense on his 12 key and attack on his 18 key. So if he's in slot 1, you can go for the 18 key. You get the guaranteed additional 12 key after he takes a hit. So you get to stack your attack and your defense in the first turn, as well as dealing quite a lot of damage. The only downside that he has, which isn't really that important in this particular stage, but obviously we don't fight any Frieza enemies, so you don't get any guaranteed crits, and all of the enemies for this stage are super type, so you can't use his active skill to finish off the fight, because he has one of those ones that can only be used against one enemy anyway. So sometimes those are useful for finishing out a Super Battle Road stage fight, like the Super Saiyan 4 LR Super Saiyan 4 active skill, for example. But you can't use his in this stage. But I mean, honestly, he's so good otherwise it doesn't really matter. And obviously having that leader skill that is 170 and 130, it's a much stronger leader skill overall as well. So next up we have the AGL LR Gohan. He of course is a great unit to talk about directly after that Goku, because he is his best link partner. They share every single one of their links. So the rotation of those two together is obviously going to be incredibly powerful. Gohan's not as good for Super Battle Road as he is for longer form events, because he infinitely stacks defense. So obviously once he's gotten a whole bunch of supers off, his defense can get incredibly high. But in a shorter event like Super Battle Road, where depending on how powerful your team is, each fight's only going to last like 3 or 4 turns, maybe 5. So he's not going to get to super attack that many times. So you do need to be careful when he takes hits, especially if they are type disadvantage. But with an item active, like his defense is very good. He's going to have all of his links active, so he is a very solid option. Obviously can't transform on the team, but if anything, he's there just to be a solid unit that's also massively power boosting that Goku, because all of his links will be active. So he definitely is a solid choice. Next up, we have Strl Broly. I mean, get used to seeing this guy. Any category that you could use him on, you should. He's ridiculously good. He raises his defense on Super. He also gets extra buffs when there are Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans. And if we go back and look at the Exploding Rage stage, every single fight is against either one Hybrid or Pure Saiyan. And then the final fight has the Goku. So fights 1 and 3 have a Goku family enemy, which means he also gets super effective against all types, which is just going to make him deal even more damage. So if you have this guy, he is absolutely the auto-include unit on your team. Even if you don't have Namek Goku and you're running like the Beerus leader or anything else like that, you absolutely should be putting this guy on the team if you have him. Still absolutely ridiculous, one of the most powerful LR units in the game because of how crazy his EZA was. So if you've got him, he should be on the team. So next up, we'll talk about the Tech LR Broly. Obviously, he's one of the better link partners for the STR one, due to the fact that with the same name update now, we obviously can run same name Brolys, but they don't link together at all. So this guy can be a very good link partner for him. Unfortunately, he has aged quite a bit, especially defensively. But on Super Battle Road, he does get an additional super when you're fighting multiple enemies, so that can be helpful. He definitely can dish out a lot of damage. If he gets to turn 4, he can transform, and then you can use his active skill straight away. That gives him a guaranteed 24 key super, as well as an attack buff. So on that rotation with him linked up with the other LR Broly, where he's basically got all of his links active, he's going to be able to do a crazy amount of damage. So being that that is on turn 4, that is potentially going to be how you finish off the stage. So you do have to be careful if you're running the rotation of him and the STR Broly. You definitely, I think, need to have items active for that, because whilst the STR Broly does have decent defense, he's not going to be tanking supers left and right in Super Battle Road, and this guy gets all of his defense on super, so he really is not a slot 1 unit. But that rotation can work very well. Next up, we also have the other legendary Super Saiyan Broly, the newest one, the Int one that was released on Saiyan Day. He's obviously very good. He has built-in damage reduction, and post-super attack, he has more damage reduction when you're fighting a Pure and Hybrid Saiyan's enemy, which, as we've already said, is all 3 fights. You want to obviously target down the non-Saiyan or Hybrid Saiyan enemy first, so you can keep that passive up for the whole time. Same for the LR Broly. And then, yeah, this guy's going to be very good. You can get off multiple super attacks. He's building up his defense with each super. You're probably not going to see his active skill, because you need to have super attacked 4 times. So unless you get the like God RNG and you get 4 supers in turn 1, then even if you have him on turn 1, that means the earliest you're going to see it is like turn 5, which you may not even get to. If you do, that's probably going to be the final turn. So then you just pop this active skill and probably finish off the fight right there. So next up, we have the LR Frieza, who also released during the download celebration. Now, he doesn't fall under Goku's leader skill, but if you're just running straight up the Exploding Rage team, this guy is a very, very solid option. Now, I did look through my box, and unfortunately, unlike the Goku, you can't use this guy as a leader. I mean, you can make a full Sworn Enemies or Planet Namek Saga team that are all Exploding Rage units, but you do have to include quite a few subpar units that I probably wouldn't want to bring, like the old physical Full Power Frieza, the STR Final Form Frieza, because really, like, the big main units on there are going to be this guy and the Namek Goku. And then you kind of start to run out of powerful options. So this guy is really good, but you can't run him on the team if you are using Goku as the leader. But if you are having to use Beerus, this guy absolutely should be an auto-include on the team, just like LR Broly. Because just like Goku, he can take a hit in slot 1 and get a guaranteed additional super. He puts out tons of damage, and obviously for this stage, we are fighting super-type enemies, so you can use his active skill. And the final stage is against a Goku, so he is going to get his guaranteed crits as well. So he's going to be putting out a lot of damage. Next up, we have this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I thought I'd include this guy because if you're running the normal Exploding Rage team, maybe you don't have the Namek Goku, this guy's obviously a good option to link up with the other LR Gohan or any other Saiyan units that you want to bring. I do use this guy quite a lot on my Super Saiyan 2 team, even without a Movie Heroes Goku. Obviously, a movie hero's Goku on the team is required in order to get his full potential, but he's still really good even if you use him without a Goku, because he raises defense on each of his supers, and he has the built-in ability to additional super. So if you get multiple supers in one turn, then his defense can be very, very good, and he can actually tank hits even without an item active. Unfortunately, it is kind of RNG related, so if he only gets off one super and you haven't used an item, then obviously his defense is not going to be quite as good, and that could be a bit risky. But he's definitely a solid unit. He can put out a ton of damage, and if you get lucky with those additional supers, his defense can actually be very, very high. So next up we have Agl Bardock. Everybody memes about this guy. He's not that great anymore. I think the reason I would put him here is more of an honorable mention. If you are running like the Super Saiyans team, then he would be a good like 6th and final unit to put on the team. We're not ever going to be fighting any Wicked Bloodline enemies in this stage, so you're not going to get his transformation early. You can get it on turn 4, and obviously once he transforms, he does have some built-in chance to dodge and built-in chance to crit, but he's definitely aged not all that well defensively, so you do have to be very careful when using him. Like I say, I think the best bet for him is going to be the final unit that you put on the team if you are running that Goku Super Saiyans build, if you need one final unit to actually round out the team. So next up we have the Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyan Man Awakening from the recent World Tournament. He's a Super Types support unit. Unfortunately, he doesn't fit under Goku's leader skill because he is a Super Saiyan 2, but if you're running the Beerus team and you've got some other solid Super Type units, he can be very good. Obviously, we talked about units like Frieza and Agl Broly who are not going to get the benefit from his support. So if you're running Beerus as the lead and then your team is mostly Extreme Type units, then he's not necessarily going to be that useful. But he's a fairly solid unit in and of himself. He builds up his defense to reasonable levels, especially if you get multiple supers. And then he does debuff extreme class enemies defense, which again, for this particular stage, is not actually valid. But he's a solid unit in and of himself, and if you've brought super types, he's a great support. But if your team is like, you know, Beerus and then all extreme types, he's probably not necessarily the best choice, but definitely worth an honourable mention. And then last but not least, we have the physical Kale with her EZA. She's actually quite good for Super Battle Road with her EZA because for 6 turns, she has 60% damage reduction. And as we've already said, like, you're probably not going to go longer than 6 turns in Super Battle Road anyway. She also launches an additional that has a 70% chance of becoming a super. And being a physical unit, even if you only have her at 55%, she does have additional in the hidden potential. So she does have the chance to super attack 3 times in 1 turn. She can do reasonable damage. And then, yeah, 60% damage reduction. The only thing to be aware of, though, is she does have 60% damage reduction, but she doesn't have any base defense. So if you've got no item active, I mean, like a type disadvantage super attack is still going to deal damage to her because that damage reduction without any defense to back it up isn't going to save you from, like I say, a type disadvantage super attack. But she definitely is a solid option to bring. Again, she doesn't fit under Goku's leader skill. I tried to include a bunch of these other units because if you don't have that Goku, you obviously can't run that team. So I didn't want to focus the whole video around building out that Goku team. But if you can, I personally think that is the best option. That is probably the build that I'm going to use in order to try and do the no items run. So if we look back at the category, if there's any units that we missed over, I guess I didn't mention the Int LR Gohan. Now that he's got his EZA, he actually is a pretty solid option because as long as, especially if you can pick up a lot of orbs, like his defense can actually be very good and he can put out quite a lot of damage now. I think I'm just so used to looking over him because he didn't have his EZA until recently, but he is actually a pretty solid option. Rose is okay. He's not really a good slot 1 unit, and we don't have a lot of units featured on this list that work super well with him. Obviously, the AGL Zamasu, I guess you could bring, and they link okay together, but AGL Zamasu is also a unit that has aged fairly badly. I have him Rainbow level 10 links, and defensively, he's not quite as good as he once was. And obviously, LR Janemba potentially is coming out within the next week or so on Global, but the stages will drop before him, so not really able to include him in the actual guide here. So there's not really any other units I think we should have touched on. This Boo is an AoE unit and can stun, but he's very, very bad defensively, so probably not a good option. The Dragon Ball Super Broly is an AoE unit, but again, not super great defensively. And he's kind of dropped off, like, offensively as well. Like, he is an AoE unit, but he's not going to be doing, like, 50% of their health or anything with his super, unlike the LR Broly when he double supers and, you know, he's just going to be absolutely destroying everybody. And then we got units like the Super Saiyan Bardocks. They'll obviously fit under the leader skill if you want to run that Goku team, especially the physical one can be a decent support and he seals on super, but again, not very good defensively. And then this Int Vegeta would have made the list, except he's almost completely designed around fighting extreme enemies, which we don't have on this stage, because he lowers their defense, attack and defense, and can stun, but only against extreme enemies, so he doesn't really work on this particular stage. But you could always put him in to help link up with the other Saiyans if you need that one final unit. So there you go. That is my top picks and honourable mentions for Exploding Rage. Let me know down below if you think I missed anyone, or if there's any features of one of the units we talked about that I missed. And we can continue the discussion down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.